I don't think there's one size fits all answer for this. We had a number of different work teams and we decided on the composition of those teams differently. We contacted the department chairs and asked them to nominate faculty members they thought would work well in this process, which served to engage the department chairs, give them a heads up on the work we were doing, and then they, knowing the faculty in their departments better, could suggest people who would work well on the project. And that worked very well for us. Having a small representative group of faculty from the various departments, I think, was a major success, or a reason for success of that initiative.
So we were very lucky at Sinclair that our president went to our board of trustees and said, you know, we want to do this proposal. We want to go after this really transformational work, but we can't do it with just the money provided by the grant. We need institutional support. So the board and the president approved a full-time operations person, an assistant project director, and a full-time administrative assistant. And so that made a huge difference in giving us bandwidth at the leadership level.
Don't make the teams too large. Make them small enough where you can have that interaction within your teams. Do some trust building types of exercises, because it's really hard to come in there and be honest about what really needs to happen if your team doesn't feel like you can trust the people in there. That's very important, not just for your team, but also with administration above your team, because sometimes you may get new administrators who don't see the value in what you're doing, so you all have to be on board.
We've actually started out by being sure that our team members were well read on all of the CBD materials that already exist and are out there. We've, laughingly called it our book club, but at every one of our meetings we try to discuss and, like a book club, talk about at least 2 or 3 of the articles that we had not had a chance to pour through yet.
I think the biggest thing I've found working with the team is you have to keep analyzing the team, because there are people who are experts at different areas. They have different experiences with the students. And when you're not utilizing their skills, they become counterproductive. And so when we moved from the planning phase to the implementation phase, we kind of redid the team. There were some folks that had great experiences on the planning year. They had other stuff going on and they wanted their freedom back. Then there were other people that stayed. We brought in new people, and then we broke into some small work teams and had to do the same thing. And I had a work team looking at advising, and I purposely brought in people that I knew would be not cheerleaders. I knew they would have some hard questions that we would have to answer, but instead of trying to explain to them later, I wanted them to be part of the process. But then as soon as we were done with our project, I said, thanks, appreciate all your hard work, but we're not just gonna meet to meet. If we need you again, can I call you back? And they all said, oh yeah, I love the project. But I didn't want to keep people around just to keep them around.
Sometimes you go, who are the usual suspects? So who would you want on board? Number one, if you're trying to get buy-in, let's say, so you try to think, well, who are some faculty members that play have some important places at the college and are especially in maybe some of those gatekeeper developmental courses. Who can give you information? That would be the IR guy. Who are in the positions in the administration that could help support and maybe push forward some of this so that you're the one that is really leading the way for others to say, yes, this is important. Yes, we are going to put some resources to it. Yes, we do want everybody to participate. And then, of course, in the counseling and advising area, somebody who is there working day to day with those students, not in a classroom situation, but in all the other struggles that they have. So they see it from a different perspective as well.
I believe you have to start off with the so-called green lighters, people that have probably already bought into the change and need it. And you don't want to bring in the red lighters, as they call them. You want to work on those. But to begin with, I think you need the most dynamic people, the type of people that nobody wants to say no to. Well, with the red lighters, you involve them in the conversation. You ask them what are they doing in the class. But over time, they realize that their job becomes a little bit easier when they see the integration of all these teachers working together, you'll see a change in their philosophies, and it takes time. You can't do it overnight.
We designed a core team, and we were intentional about choosing the people who get chosen for everything, some of that group. But we also were intentional about inviting newcomers to the college who we thought had promise for future leadership. And we thought if we established a culture of open and honest conversation and pushback, that the younger faculty and staff, and not younger in terms of age, but newer to the college, would push us forward in our thinking. And that's one piece of advice I would give to someone starting this work. And so I think that combination on the team served us very well.